So let me tell you, the weather since my last video has not let up. We've still got the rain is kind of on and off. I'm donned head to toe in full waterproof, so, well, chin to toe. The Canada hat isn't waterproof, unfortunately. And the wind is certainly not gone. It's probably windier, but I'm deciding not to head up to the moorland. I'm staying in this sort of forested, safe wooded areas of Silverdale. This is a place that I haven't been in a while. I've been due a visit. Love it round here. On top of that, I received a wonderful email sometime last week, a couple of weeks ago maybe, from a subscriber called Simon, who I believe lives in this area, and he said, I'll put it up on the screen here, he sent me this like proper mint little screenshot of Ordnance Survey maps, and it was just a little adventure that he went on, and he discovered a really nice area to photograph, and excuse me, it's got like directions how to get to a little waterfall. He found a really nice group of trees, and he just said it's generally a really nice area to go and it might be worth a visit. And I said to him, oh, I'll definitely check it out. And yeah, today with the weather, it just felt like a good time for it. So thank you so much, Simon. That's absolutely class, and I'm looking forward to getting stuck into it. Now, before we head off on Simon's route, I've parked up a little bit further back from where he said to start, and I'm going to go down. You might be able to see it through the trees here. There's a lake called Haweswater. It's the biggest natural lake in Lancashire. I've been there before, and it's a wonderful spot to go with your camera. Really, really photogenic. And I have been there before, probably in summer of 2020, and I got one really nice shot down there. There's a little boathouse, but I don't know. I feel like my photography's come on quite a lot, even just in the past 6 months. Or I'm happy with the direction that it's going, including my editing. So I just don't mind revisiting all these locations that, you know, I came to even in summer. You know, it wasn't really that long ago, because I feel like I've kind of got newer eyes, whatever that means. But yeah, definitely worth a revisit, all of these places. And the weather, the sky is the same as it was really in the last video. Nice and textured. We've got these beautiful grey Lancashire skies that we all love, and something can definitely be made for it. But I'm not necessarily going to try and focus just on the wide vistas and getting the sky in today, you know. I'm not saying I'm going to go intimate, but I'm going to keep my eyes peeled, especially when we get to Simon's route, because I've got a feeling it's going to offer us quite a little bit of variety, you know. But yeah, looking forward to the day. Thanks again to Simon. We'll get down to Haweswater now, see if there's anything worth getting the camera out for. Ooh, a few drops of rain, So what is it? Is it a house? Is it a little log cutter's cabin? I'll tell you what, if it is a gaff, I'd take it in a heartbeat. That is serene. I think we might have reached peak living the dream here, guys, if we had this. Imagine a little campfire down here in the winter. You'd have deer roaming about. You're within yards from Haweswater over there for some summer swims. That is brilliant. Now, but you can see how photogenic it is, and how it's probably, or you can probably see how it's just caught my eye here. I'm just come off the path there, look. I only spoke to you a minute ago, and hopefully you can see from this shot here, you know, my idea. I'm using these 2 pine trees here just to sort of frame it. So again, this is the sort of image that I wouldn't have really taken before I started shooting handheld. You know, it's a quick stop, and I think it's going to be quite nice. It's got, I'd like to think, a bit of a Hansel and Gretel feel to it. Quite magical, and yeah, a bit of a fairy tale feel, let's say. And now my settings are a little bit funny here, I must admit, but I'll try my best to explain them to you. The main thing really is at the top left, we've got these kind of pine branches, these pine needles blowing all over the place in the wind. So I'm feeling like I have to increase my shutter speed to freeze the motion of them, you see. Then I'm shooting at f9 because I'm focusing. I'll do it now. I'm going to focus on one of the pine trees here in the foreground, and then I want to shoot at f9 so that the focus is quite even throughout. My initial idea was to focus on the little gaff and shoot at f4 so the pine trees or the trunks would be blurred out in the foreground, but I didn't really like it. I prefer this, you know, shooting at f9. So to compensate for that, you know, because I've prioritised my shutter speed and my aperture, I'm having to increase my ISO just to make the image brighter, you know, to bring the exposure up a little bit. Composition, really simple, you can see. Probably the only couple of things that I'll mention is the borders. I'm making sure I've got a few tiny little gaps between the trees, the two trees, and the edges of the frame. For me, that's really important. It just gives the photograph a little bit of breathing room, or it gives them areas of the photograph a little bit of breathing room, sorry. And then I'll probably keep it at a 9:16 crop, as you're seeing it there. I quite like that sort of wide angle feel, and all this foreground down here, even though we're shooting at 24mm, still works for me. So I'll just get my electronic level up there. There we go, and get this one in the can. Lovely, that's a decent one to start off the day. Looks quite dark on my camera, but it's going to be fine judging by the histogram. So yeah, what a start, guys. We're not even down at the lake yet. We're not even on Simon's route. So we'll jump back up on the path here now and see what else we can find. What a gaff! So let's walk and talk, shall we? Somebody made a really good point on my last video, it was, when I was talking about how much I love the rain and the wind and these like British conditions, let's call them. They basically said that like it pays to enjoy these conditions living in England, especially where I do, like northwest England or whatever. And it made me realise that, oh, that's so true. Like when I was a kid, before I was into photography or anything like that, or even the outdoors really, sorry if the lens is a bit better. I was into football. I'm nowhere near as passionate about football than I am about photography, but it's the only thing that's kind of close, you know. And I remember when I was a kid, like I always used to play football in the rain, and I used to love it. And it's kind of similar, you know. I just, as a kid, like I grew up in Cumbria, and I played a lot of football when I lived around in Morecambe and stuff. If you didn't want to play football in the rain, you wouldn't be playing football. And I think I've just kind of got the same outlook with my photography now, you know. I'm probably lucky that I do enjoy these conditions, but I think even if you don't, you maybe got to find it within yourself to enjoy them somehow, because it's just always like this. Just embrace it, you know. It's easier said than done, I think, if you're not into it. But yeah, it definitely pays 100%. So that person was very right. Honestly, it's so nice. Earlier on today, it was kind of, I think I said before, it was quite changeable. Sun was coming out every now and again, which we don't want any sun here. But this is real nice. Like it's got that proper sort of moody feel to it again. And I don't know. I just feel like it suits this location, the rain and the kind of drabness. Right, let's crack on. Wet and wild now, guys. As I said in my last video, we've asked for it and we're getting it. So this actually isn't Haweswater. This isn't the lake that I was at before. What can I say? I had to come away, to be honest, because it was getting on a bit. We're about an hour till the sunset, and I felt if I hung around at Haweswater too much, we weren't actually going to follow Simon's directions, which would make this video pointless. But we've come over now and well into the route that he provided me. I came through this kind of wooded area here where there's some really nice Scots pine trees, exactly like he said on the map, and it was really nice. I'm not in the right frame of mind for woodland photography, and there's definitely potential, but I think I was just struggling somewhat to find a composition. But I could see this kind of lake, or what it appeared to be, through the wooded area, and it's beautiful. I've come down here now and I've had to check on my OS maps because I just haven't got my bearings. This is actually called Silverdale Moss, quite similar to Leighton Moss, which is nearby. It's a nature reserve that is basically like a marshland, and depending on how much rain there's been, there's either loads of water here, like today it's basically a lake, or sometimes it's just a series of rivers. But what a subject! absolutely class and completely unexpected. You can see down here as well, I found this like little derelict building, or it's just down to the foundations. Really nice. I'm actually going to use this as a little bit of foreground interest. I think just shooting that vista in the background with that peak would be nice as a straight shot, but just experimenting a little bit still, I suppose. Lens cap off, imperative if you want to get a good photograph. So I am shooting in a portrait dimension, as you can see, f8 and 1/15 of a second, and I'm shooting at ISO 100 mostly because it's really dark down here in the foreground, and I want to make sure I expose for it correctly because we've got these gorgeous mosses, some of these reeds down here. Are they called tongue ferns? They're quite ubiquitous in this area, and the background, I mean, speaks for itself. I don't need to talk about that. So I'm focusing in the foreground on some of these ferns. Oh, the rain's coming down now. That looks good, and you see I'm just using this little bit of dry stone wall or some of these foundations here just to lead out from the bottom left. There we go, something like that. And honestly, the light is really nice down here in the foreground, and that's mostly why I want to include it. We're just getting that peak off in the background. A few swans kicking about as well. Check my histogram, mint, spot on. And honestly, I really like the way that looks. We've got some of these reeds or grasses here on the left hand side as well. Absolutely class and totally unexpected. I will definitely be returning to this spot. I'll say this too much, but imagine this at sunrise on a misty morning. Whoa. It's too wet. We asked for it, but it's too much now. There's a fine line between too much and out here living the dream. Oh no, this has been class. I just have to abort. I'm starting to worry for my gear, you know, when everything just starts getting a little bit too wet. Water's seeping through the bag, and what a spot though. I'll definitely be returning. Simon, again, thank you very much, mate. What a treat. I hope you've all enjoyed the adventure. What a day out. And I'll tell you what, if there was ever a want for a cup of tea, this is it. Right, cheers for tuning in. Please give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. As always, it helps me out, and comment below. I love to hear from you. And I'll see you on the next adventure. Out.